Hello, everyone. My name is Melanie Smith, and I am the Travel and Meeting Planner for GCFA. I'm a certified meeting professional as well as a certified faith-based meeting professional. I'm wanting to take a little bit of time today to show you through a little bit of a demo site of Aventri. This is the registration software we at GCFA use and offer anyone within the connection for a greatly reduced price from what you'll find at other registration softwares. So let's begin. So just to show a little bit of the high level, so when you all log in, you're not going to see all of this. As an admin, I obviously have access to all the different folders. So you'll likely only see your annual conference or your agency folder within here. So within the events, I went ahead and created one called a demo event. So this is going to be this final event. So this is an example of just the folder. If we wanted to create from scratch, we would just click this button, create new event. So for example, we'll go into the demo event right now. So as it loads, I just want to show you a few things. So when it loads, it originally loads the event overview. And then at this top right section, we have registrations, website, networking, as well as all of these other areas such as scheduler, booth, seating, budget, project. Most people just utilize the registration module and the website module, but I would highly recommend you getting in. It's a great custom tool to manage your entire event, whether or not it's scheduling certain things that need to be done, managing tasks, assigning people to tasks. It's a great way to keep everything within one software and one system. So firstly, this main page is the event overview. We go into this little pencil. It is editing the event. So if we go in, you can see a lot of the event name and status I didn't fill in just because right now, just for high level, it's not really needed. I'm going to scroll down and the things that I did fill in show you a little bit about the importance of them. So firstly, we'll talk about the pre-event. So the pre-event is preloaded when you're starting a new registration module or cloning an old event. The clone feature is awesome in Aventri because, for example, an annual conference that happens every year, it would be great to not have to start afresh every year and just change the things that are applicable to this year's annual conference versus others. So the pre-event area allows us to go in and test the event, test our registration, what we chose as what is visible to who, without having to call Aventri support to get them to delete actual registrations each and every time. Down below, the registration close date and registration close message is when you're not accepting any more registrations. And if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, especially right now in the era of virtual and hybrid events, the start date and end date ultimately is what you need. So a lot of things right now, I'm doing location up here in this middle section as Zoom. For this one, we're going to act like we're doing an in-person event just so I can show you some different features. But the location can be filled in as you desire, and then the start and end date. Then down at the far bottom, contact information. So a big thing that people forget or do differently is they save and exit the event each time. Just to show you an example, when we save and exit, we go back to the event folder. So the easiest way to maintain different edits within your event would be just to save and stay each and every time. So we'll come back to that. Now we're just going to pop back in to the edit button. So the virtual event is something that we can do if you wanted to use Aventri as the virtual event platform that people would log into before popping out to their virtual meetings, workshops, etc. That is an option that we could explore on a case-by-case basis if you would like a bit of a demo of that. The event emails is a great feature. I love this because automatically it has the confirmation and incomplete registration preloaded. So we'll go in for an example to event. Not really certain why it has 3 of these, but we can make it seem like the Aventri site is sending directly from our emails. So then, for example, one of our attendees might not think it's spam and accidentally delete it. We want them to see the information as if it were coming from us directly and we were sending out all 150 attendee-specific emails. This is a great way to manage that without having to do that individually. So then under the HTML content, we can edit this to look however we want. We can add logos, the event logo, we could add click-through links to our different maybe social media sites or your website, or driving people to the next step of registration if you want them to watch an intro video, etc. This is a great way to do that and customize this initial confirmation email. It does automatically preload these items that you see the stars and the backslashes for. Those are preloaded. So when somebody enters their first name on the site, it will preload back into this email. So it really is a custom email to each and every individual, which is great. So I'm just going to X out of this. As we enter similar things for the event text messages, the event SMS, you can do that. Registrant rules, waitlisting, promotion, social are a little bit more advanced. We're not going to get into those today. But the next one I want to talk about is categories. So categories being how you are defining the different attendee types you're having in your meeting. For example, for this, I did lay and clergy members. You notice that there are 0 subcategories under lay members, but 2 subcategories under clergy members. How I've set this up is that under the category name of clergy, when you click that you are a clergy member, you're going to get the option of being retired or an active clergy member. Why I did this is to show you some different ways that the visibility of questions can be different to different people types, different category types. So this section, we are going to want to save and exit because we're exiting out of this particular pop-up. Or you can just click this little red X button at the top if you don't need to save anything. So under attendee info, we've got active and inactive questions. The active questions are the account level questions or the event specific questions that you are asking. When we go into active questions, you can see that some of them are visible and some of them are required, and then some aren't checked at all. If they're not checked at all, it means it won't show to the attendee. I'm not really certain right now why it has 3 email address questions, but it does. So we only need to make one of those visible to people. And that's something that we'd want every category type, lay, clergy, retired, active, to see. So we'll keep that as is. But going down to, we'll see that we have the first name required, the last name required, but then you'll notice this church name says partial, both partial for the visibility and partial for the required. So I'll show you what I did there. This pop-up will happen anytime that you are doing an edit for the account level question. This pop-up only means for a question within your event. So don't worry that if you edit a question in a certain event, it's not going to edit across the board unless you save it in the backend spot. So no worries to say yes that we want to edit this question. Going in, you'll notice that the question is just purely church name. And it's something that we have a single line of text. So this would be something that somebody inputs. If we wanted to choose different question types, we do have the option. These are especially great if you have to collect documents or sign waivers or things like that. We could upload files. We could select certain dates if, for example, a clergy member, you want to know when they were ordained, etc. So this is a great way to do that and ask the different questions that you may need. So we're going to leave it as a single line of text though. So down here under the visibility settings, I have required and made it visible for the lay attendees to put their church name in. But for the clergy members, we might not be as interested in the retired clergy member's church name because then it might get confusing. Do we want the church that they were last serving at? Or do we want the church that they're attending right now? So maybe we just don't ask it. We could ask it and just make it visible to those attendees, or not have it visible or required at all. Whereas the active members, we might want to have it visible. So anytime you change anything, we want to make certain to either save and say or save and exit. There's also the way that you can toggle between all of these different options within, so say dietary restrictions. We can toggle that is a radio button. So when there is a specified radio button that yes, you do have dietary restrictions or no, you don't. And then you can make a custom question of if yes, then what? So you could have people define those different things. So that's one of those options. So going back to our main header up here, another section is the agenda and options. You'll notice under there, we've got agenda, sessions, speakers, locations, and options and merchandise. we'll start with agenda and kind of link in what sessions and speakers and locations rather have to do with the agenda and sessions. So within the agenda and sessions, I've set up two different types. So one, a multiple session check radio button where somebody would check and say, I want to attend workshop 1 or I want to attend workshop 2. We can assign within the workshops themselves different speakers. So then this we can make visible on our website. We can also make visible on our registration. So if somebody wants to, not only they're interested in the topic of workshop 1, they might be interested in the speaker of workshop 1 over a different session. So we can do that throughout this tab. Keynote 1, this is an example. I set it up as a single session checkbox. I did this so if we made a custom email with the agenda to pop up on somebody's confirmation email, this would show on there. So let me just go into here and show a couple things that I did within this single session checkbox keynote speech. So the keynote, I called Keynote 1. One of the things we can do is we can actually choose a location, which will help us put a maximum. So say we're at an in-person event and we have only 150 chairs, especially with social distancing requirements, we might only be able to get 75 people in the room. So this is a great way to have the system work for you instead of against you. It's much better for the system to say, this room has reached capacity. Then you have to individually reach out to people after they've registered for a specific topic or workshop and say, hey, I'm sorry, our room can't fit you. Can you go to a different workshop? It's a great way to not have to manually do it. So for example, I had set room 2 with 150 person capacity. So we'll go ahead and click room 2 for the keynote 1. I have chosen that this is a plenary session type. If, for example, you're requiring people for education to go to 3 workshops or all of the plenaries, that's a way to do it if you define them this way. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And then this tracks is if you have like specific educational tracks that you want to sort by. And then you'll notice that I have assigned John Doe as a speaker to this event. So if we load within the speakers tab up here, we load in the speakers tab, different speakers, John Doe, for an example. I almost have one of those names similar, Melanie Smith. I could have loaded myself and then assigned myself to one of the workshop categories or to the plenary. So this is a way we can do that. And then the capacity and wait list. So this is another way that both the room capacity will set the capacity, but you also can say, well, the room technically can hold 150, but due to social distancing, we only want 75 people in there. And then our sold out message being the capacity has been reached for this keynote. Join us for the next, or whatever you want to say. Similar things down here in the below that just like the questions, you can show this to maybe only lay members or only clergy members, depending on who you're looking for as your attendees. And then we'll always want to save and exit each and every time we're going between. So like I mentioned under the speakers tab, this is where we can set up speakers and link back. So John Doe being one of them, we could give him a title, give him a company, give him a bio, give him different photos and such. Similar with locations, we can put in the different rooms, the different names, the different capacity, what it's used for, if it's going to be used for the sessions, if it's going to only be used for plenary, if it's only going to be used for meals, that can be done here. Under options and merchandise, this is the way to set up if you're selling merchandise for a cost. So, or you just want to know for numbers. So maybe your event bag is a certain price and maybe your t-shirt is a different price. Or maybe you charge for lunches every day and you want to know how many people are going to be at lunch each day and which days. This is a great way to do that in options and merchandise. Really anything that would be more specific to the individual than to the category type. The options and merchandise is a great tab to set that up. Under hotel and settings, hotel and travel settings, they're exactly what it sounds like. So the hotel being, where do we have the room block for the event? And when are you planning on checking in and checking out so we can let the hotel know? That would be set up under hotel settings. Travel settings, very similar, especially if you're using a travel agency or bookings yourself, this is a great way to set and make certain that you know what airlines preferred and where is this person flying in and out of, what morning, afternoon, evening time frame would they want to fly. So this is a great way to do that under travel settings. Finally, before I just get into some super high level, we'll go into fees and payments. Under fees and payments, we can set different price points for different events. So for example, if you have an early bird special, if people get their registration in early, maybe we want to charge a lesser price than if we wait until 4 days before the event or closer to when the event registration closes. So for example, for this, I did an early bird special. This should actually be 85, an early bird special of about $5 off per of the total price. I did, it will automatically load that the attendee categories have different price blocks, meaning this entire line. You could put them all the same. We could make all clergy $150 across the board, and we could make all lay $150 across the board. So that's an option too, or you can do what I did down here and make the retired have a little bit lesser of a price and the active have a little bit greater of a price. Then if we wanted to charge just for different sessions, this would be maybe if you're reserving a meal at one session or a specific snack break, but you weren't offering it to all of them. Just anything that might be a price differential that you didn't want to set up in options. Say a plenary comes with a lunch included, instead of having to choose that they want a box lunch in the hallway or something like that. And then everything being, if we had set up any merchandise, this is where it would be as well. So that's one thing. So we'll go ahead and save and stay, just since we moved some things around. Discount codes, you can give a discount to certain people if you want. So say we wanted to add a discount code that was free. And this would be the word that somebody types in when you have the option to type in a discount code on the site. So we can assign a 50% discount for maybe a 50% off discount if we wanted to give that to some members and free to others. Or we can assign a fixed discount. So this fixed discount is great if everything is the same cost. The percentage discount is going to be if we set our lay price different than our clergy price. So for the percent discount, we might want to put 100% if we wanted it to be free. And this we could choose to apply to. So maybe you still need them to pay for their meal. This would be a way that they could take off the cost of the attendance, but still pay for that meal itself. So we'll go ahead and save and exit, but just some different things. Maybe you want to set specific dates for this code or not, and can only be used to maybe one person in a group if there's going to be a group registration, or maybe we just make it visible to certain category types. That's a way to do it too. Payment settings, where we're going to set up if we're able to take checks, if we're able to take credit cards, or if we're going to accept cash on site. This is a great way to have that information communicated to people so they can finish their registration. If there's a cost associated, you will need to set up a payment setting. Tax setting, if you do need to pay tax on things, most people choose to make the entire event registration and include tax in that, but other people want to set their tax per their site. And then invoice settings is really high level. In terms of the looks and feel, you both have the theme editor as well as the headers, footers. So this is a great way to, over here on the right where it says customize. So say you have specific colors or specific fonts. So maybe your marketing team, you don't want to work against them. You want to work with them with the event logos, with the look, the feel of your site, the registration site, as well as your website if you choose to use that module. So this is a great way to do it. One of the things I would note for your marketing team, there are set fonts. So I would recommend sending those options to your marketing team and allowing them to choose which fonts they should use throughout. Then under advanced settings, we do have the ability to change the language and wording. So instead of this saying welcome, we can make that say something different like, we're glad you're here. Under preload data and pre-approved data, this would be if you knew you had these 20 attendees who came every year and you didn't want them to have to type in their name, their church or anything like that. This would be a good way to pre-load that information for them or pre-approve them if you're going through an approval process and saying, oh, well, we need Andrew to come, but we don't need Susie to come. The pre-approval would be a great way to do that if you have a certain set of people that you need to come to this, but you also need to garner other information and have a registration site. So that's really high level how to set up an event and what some of the different features are. We can definitely dig in on case by case and individual basis, more of the individual things such as reports and functions and how to read our registration lists and our different reports, as well as how to set up the website. The website is a great module to use, and it's something that you can do and mimic a lot of what you're doing on your registration site to really not have to do the work twice. And that we can always do. Feel free to email us and we will go ahead and get that set up for a specific demo that would be helpful for your group. Again, my name is Melanie Smith, and feel free at any point to reach out. My contact information is on the next slide.